Welcome to Defying Society and Embracing Faith with Holly and Marisa. This is the podcast where we challenge our societal norms and explore our faith with our modern living.
Mm-hmm. Join us as we navigate thought-provoking stories and situations, our personal stories, and just how it relates to our faith and what's going on in this world.
Yeah. How's everyone doing today?
Well, we survived.
Yeah, we survived the eclipse.
Peter keeps calling it the apocalypse.
Everyone's calling it apocalypse.
The 2024 eclipse.
It was freaking awesome.
Yes.
If you were in the path of totality, you were missing out for sure, because that was, I got like emotional.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh, I was just struck.
Did you see that video that I didn't even mean to take when all the kids realized what was going on?
Yeah.
So we were in a parking lot of our neighborhood and we kind of had like a viewing party. So there was quite a few families there.
Yeah.
And I think the kids were like, what? I don't think they really got it. And then suddenly when the lights went out and then they looked up, they were screaming.
Yeah.
All of them, but like happy. Like it was so cool.
I know.
Like if I was a child, that's what I would have been doing.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I know. I kept staring. It was the most beautiful thing
I've ever
seen.
It was so freaking awesome.
Now I can see why people would travel to see it.
Yeah. Now I get it.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you though, like ever since I've had like a headache.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because like I stared at it, because there was like several instances
when it was dark.
When I was like checking on it, like I would just like look up at the sun, like, oh yeah, I need my glasses.
But it's so bright. I guess I don't understand how anyone could really look up at it.
Yeah, you couldn't stare at it for that long.
You can't even look up at the sun.
No. But I got really, really tired afterwards. And I've heard that from a lot of people that I don't know if it's maybe because we were outside, but we were also in Cleveland and they were lighting up our skies, lighting them up. Like I took the dog for a walk around 11 in the morning and I called you and I'm like, dude, like I probably counted like 10 trips.
It was,
At that time, at 11.
It was just such a gloomy week all week. So the fact that it was clear blue, not a cloud in the sky that morning, we were all like, look how beautiful the sky is. So the minute they started tracking up the sky, it was like, whoa. And then I just got super disappointed because we were hours away from the viewing. I'm like, if they cloud up the sky right now, it's just going to really suck. And so then I posted that video on a whim. Actually, before we were driving there, my oldest was like, Mom, look what they're doing to the sky. I'm like, I know. She started taking pictures. I'm like, take pictures, send them to Holly. And then when I got back, I went on the patio to check it out. And I did that video. Yeah. And I never really, I will post random weather things. I remember last year I posted something about complaining about the rain and, there's people like, get over it. I'm like, oh yeah, get over it. Do you live here? Like it was like 30 straight days of misery. So anyways, I posted the sky and I just, put my phone away. And then you came and you got to the clubhouse. You're like, dude, your video blew up. Yeah. What? So everybody was just.
People weren't expecting that from you.
Yeah, they probably weren't. And I think so many people were looking up from different parts of the country going, well, that's what's happening here. I'm talking, people from Texas, California, Tennessee. All those different people that were like, I'm here in New York and it's happening here.
The amount of people, like, because what's funny is, like, we both have Instagram accounts, the gardening, humor, and I will just, like, straight up trash talk the government and everything that
he always says, oh, Holly went hard in the paint today.
I posted one like about a week ago about the trails in the sky, and I posted like all the ingredients with it.
Oh yeah.
And the amount of people who still don't like believe it, I just don't know how you don't. Like, you can't tell me that you look up at the sky and think that tic-tac-toe lines are normal.
Maybe if they're young, that's all they remember.
But no, like these are usually like adult men who are arguing with me in the comment sections, and I'm like, dude, like look up geoengineering.
But it's like public knowledge. It's out there. No one's denying that it's going on. It's unfortunate. But it didn't get in the way of our eclipse.
No, it didn't. There was one really bad trail in front of our.
You can see it in our videos though.
Yeah, you can. It's ridiculous. But like, but it was a good
gorgeous. It was the best thing I've ever seen in nature.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely something from God. And I think that's why I got so emotional too. I'm like, this is so pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so listen, I got this story to tell you. I had a relative go out of town. She stayed in this old Airbnb. It was like a, a old century home, like a couple 100 years old. And she said that she woke up in the middle of the night and she looked at her husband, and right next to her husband, laying on the pillow, was her great grandson sucking on his pacifier. And she's looking at him. She's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Wow, are you taking like crazy pills or something?
Yeah.
What's going on?" And she's like, I put my arms out, like waiting for him to come in towards me. And she's like, he like just like sat there. And she's like, so like I closed my eyes, and she goes, I open them back up. And she's like, then he was like in the curtains.
That's creepy.
And she's like, yeah. So she got up and she's like moving the curtains. And she's like, this is strange. She fell back asleep, woke back up. She looks over and her husband's talking to a guy in a black hat.
That's messed up.
And a figure, like black figure. And he doesn't remember any of this. Oh, but she said
He
that
doesn't
it was
remember
so real. No, she said it was so real. And she said all she could do was pray to God. And she's like, and eventually it all went away.
That's serious.
Is that
stuff.
some crazy stuff?
So that
we were just talking about that.
But you know that black hat figure is
No.
something?
No, what is that?
So I had a really scary black hat figure situation when I was in my 20s. And at the time, my aunt, as I was staying at my aunt's house, when I described what I saw, and I'll tell you the whole story, she said that that sounded like her father-in-law, what he liked, how he was dressed. Later, I would find out that this is a common vision that people see when they're under sleep paralysis. I used to get severe sleep paralysis.
Yes. So then also she told me that her husband didn't remember any of this stuff, but he had complained that it felt like there was pressure on his chest. Isn't that crazy?
Dude, that is okay. So that is a real thing.
Yes.
And that is scary for me to even hear because it went on for me for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like at least a couple of years. And the time that it happened at my aunt's house, which is when the first and only time I saw that black cat, black trench coat with the black cat figure, I heard it was common for me to fall asleep and then hear a room full of people. So the room full of people, one time it was like children laughing and like doing like Ring Around the Rosie. But most of the time it was like a room of people talking. And so I would wake up in real life and I'd be like, what the heck? And I would be like stuck under my covers and like pressure on my chest and I couldn't move and I couldn't like wake up, but I was already awake, you know? And I would be like super frightened. And so this particular time I woke up from people talking. And when I like picked my head up and looked at the end of the bed, there was that figure standing there. And I don't remember doing this, but I must have jumped up and screamed so loud. And I was downstairs that my aunt and my uncle came running down their stairs into the room within seconds. And they're like, what happened? What's wrong? And I'm like, there was a person standing right there. I mean, I am like sweating. I'm like freaking out. Because my aunt had so much weird things happen in her house, and her like her brother-in-law that she took care of passed away there. Like the figure that I described, she thought sounded like her father. And only, later on that I realized that this is
an
actual
common
figure. Okay.
Okay.
And then the paralysis was like on your chest, you can't move. There's so much pressure and like can't talk, can't do anything. The only thing that got me out of that was praying
to God.
And I'd be like, please, Jesus, help me. Like in the name of Jesus. Like I would just like, I don't even know what I would say, but
that's what she did to get him out of the room. And she's like, they were gone.
Yeah, it was probably an evil room.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
isn't
that creepy?
We stayed in Florida last year. We stayed at a house and we booked this house. We wanted to stay there like 2 weeks, but there was a weekend that it was going to be busy. And so we had to leave to go to another house and it happened to be down the street. So we're like, oh, it's right down the street. We'll rent this other house. The few days that we were at this house, I cannot explain to you, like I got a vibe immediately when I walked in there. It was very boho, which I actually like that style. So it wasn't like what it looked like. It was very cute, mid-century boho feeling, like an icky feeling. And I'm like, I just, in my mind, was like, okay, that's weird. Well, Pete couldn't sleep the entire time he was there, like could not sleep for 3 days. It was,
Dang.
the kids hated being there. I got like a witch feeling. I'm like, this is like a witch's house or something. Like there's like, and then I saw the picture of the lady who like was the realtor who owned it. And then I was like, this is a witch's house. I'm not kidding you. That lady was doing something. I don't know what, but that house, there's something wrong with it.
Right. That's odd.
Well, I'm glad that she knew to like
to start praying over.
That's
wild. Like, I know, isn't that crazy?
Wow.
I mean, it's not something that I think you can pick up a rock for and pray to the rock.
I think it makes it worse. I think all that kind of stuff makes it worse.
Yeah.
And we just talked about the demons and spirits. So that black cat figure is known to be like a spirit or a demonic force. That's at least what you'll read about. Like if you read, and this is not uncommon.
Yeah.
And you'll read that it is like a spirit.
Now that you say that, I think I've actually seen something with those like documentaries and like people's ghost stories and stuff about a guy in a black hat. Now that I'm thinking
it's like
of that, it's a thing.
Top hat, not a top hat, like a regular hat, like kind of old school trench coat.
Yeah.
Very
weird.
On that note, like with people having things in there, you don't know what's in homes, right? Like I stayed at a person's house. She did have like a lot of those warding off spirit type things.
What do you mean, like dream catchers and stuff?
Dream catchers.
I have a dream catcher in my son's room. He always asks what that is, and I'm like, it's just decoration.
I don't know. Like wind chimes aren't supposed to be good. I don't really have any outside anymore, but it's
my mom's always like, it's a dream catcher. It catches your dreams. I'm like, no, it doesn't do that stuff, Mom. Like, stop saying that to him.
Well, stones and rocks, people have their different take on there. Like we talked about it in previous podcasts, like, people use them for the wrong reasons. I do believe that there's some healing to all nature. Okay. So you can't say that there's not natural healing to things.
It's different when you pray to it. That I can't pray to the rocks.
What I find fascinating is stones. So last year, and I was looking for this forever, and I kept looking in my notes. I kept putting in gems and crystals and all this stuff. And then finally I was going through my notes and it was under stones because there's lots of different, I guess we can call them stones, mentioned in the Bible. It is said that there's 12 precious gems for the 12 tribes of Israel. And the first time they're mentioned is in the Old Testament when Moses commanded Aaron to wear like this priestly garment or armor or something like that.
Vest.
Yeah, the breastplate. And there's 12 stones.
Yeah, stones.
All right. So those are listed there, and I mean I could barely pronounce them, but they're in Exodus 28. Okay, but it's carnelian, turquoise, emerald, jacinth, agate, amethyst, topaz, onyx, jasper.
So those are the same ones that are in Revelation too.
Well, some of a lot.
21.
Yeah, there's some of them are a little bit different.
Are they different?
Yeah,
they don't coincide.
I'm glad you brought that up because in Revelation, they're a lot of the same ones, but they're a little bit different.
So in Revelation, it discusses how all these different stones are going to be built or going to be used to build.
Could you read
the temple? This is about the New Jerusalem. When the foundations of the city walls will be decorated with every kind of precious stone. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third agate, the fourth emerald, the fifth onyx, the sixth ruby, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, 10th turquoise, 11th jacinth, and the 12th amethyst.
Is this the same?
I don't know. The 12 gates were 12 pearls, each gate made of a single pearl.
If it's not almost the same, it's pretty dang close.
Yeah. There's other walls that are going to be made of jasper, pure gold, and glass.
Okay. So article I was looking for like a year.
Okay.
Was this one on the stones in the Bible.
Yeah.
They always knew that the different stones were either classified, not always knew, for a long time they knew they would be classified as I don't know, anisotropic
yeah,
or isotropic.
Amsotropic.
anisotropic. I should probably learn how to pronounce these words before I say them. But recently, they have discovered what's called cross-polarized light, which is like pure light.
Mm-hmm.
And when they discovered that, when they would look at these stones through this light, what's really interesting is that the stones mentioned in Revelation are what's called anisotropic. Okay.
Anisotropic.
Tropic. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say that a million times and I'm going to lose my mind.
Anisotropic.
Okay. So those, when you use cross-polarized light, no matter what color they are, they come out the rainbow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Whereas other stones that are isotropic, when looked under, are black.
Gross.
Black.
Yeah.
Just black.
Oh, just black.
Like totally like, yeah, like no color, like black. Like imagine looking through a black and white filter.
So, and those ones would be like the popular ones today.
Diamonds are no color.
But you know what? I'm actually not surprised because I don't even like diamonds. If they're not even that pretty.
Well, the hype is, well, I'm going to get to the diamonds in a minute.
Okay.
So as I was like, oh my gosh, this is the article I wanted to find. This is so cool. So all those beautiful stones mentioned in Revelation, which makes it seem like if everything's built with these stones and then the light is shown on them, then it would just be like this magnificent color
that's going to be
coming from all these different stones where everything is built.
Yeah.
That's just mind blowing. Mm-hmm. Not to mention how powerful the rainbow is, which is God's promise. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of
all coincides. It kind of just validates the fact that God is that divine, right? You know, and that everything there's a purpose for like everything,
right? Very specific.
Yes.
So it's reflecting all the colors. Now, on the other end of things, diamonds, which are, you know, such a scam, but are the isotropic. So are garnet and spinel and fluorite, which are like the garnet. Those are in the red family. Okay. Ruby was not listed as
the tropic.
Anisotropic. Okay. But it is a false.
You just like point to the word. You say it.
You're better at that. But it is a hard stone like a diamond. It doesn't make it a bad stone, but it is in the red family, which makes me think that maybe it is an isotropic stone.
Well, it's mentioned in Revelation 21 that it will be part of the 12.
I couldn't find what type of stone it was.
But okay, so here's another question I have for you since we're on that topic is last time we got into a podcast, we talked about Satan in Ezekiel 28. And he was adorned in jewels. Does it say in there what jewels?
Diamonds is one of them.
Oh, really? Is it in scripture? Ezekiel talking. This is about Satan. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you. Carnelian, chrysolite, emerald, topaz, onyx, jasper, lapis, lazuli, turquoise, and beryl. Your settings and mountings were made of gold. On the day you were created, they were prepared. Shall we keep going?
Sure.
You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. You were on the holy mountain of God. You walked among the fiery stones. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created till wickedness was found in you. Through your widespread trade, you were filled with violence and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God, and I expelled you, guardian cherub, from among the fiery stones. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth. I made a spectacle of you before kings. By your many sins and dishonest trade, you have desecrated your sanctuaries. So I made a fire come out from you, and it consumed you, and I reduced you to ashes on the ground in the sight of all who are watching. All the nations who knew you were appalled at you. You have come to a horrible end and will be no more.
Yep.
So kicked out of heaven. Yeah.
I was like, dang, what'd you do, bro? What'd you do?
So, okay, so the precious stones that adorned him are those.
It's interesting because in different translations, diamonds are mentioned. But what I get out of diamonds, if I go in the concordance, this is why it's funny. When you go through the concordance, it just says precious stone.
That's it? Is that
yeah.
it?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not really, it's not really giving you a whole lot. And then if in some translations, I'm noticing that, it's not in there. Now, diamonds, folklore says diamonds and rubies were created by lightning.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. The diamonds specifically. I was like, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, it is.
It's a very, like I told you, it's very hard stone. It's very sharp. So when it's mentioned in scripture a couple times that it's almost like defining sharpness or hardness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it is unbreakable.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not
like it's like a pretty thing.
Yeah.
It's like a rock.
Like a rock. It essentially is just a rock. It's like a piece of dust form.
Something that you wouldn't wear.
Polished until it made it sparkly, because if you look at it in the light, it's black.
That's interesting. Yeah. So like, you think we were all duped with these diamonds that we have to wear? I mean, not that we have to wear them on our fingers, but like, that's like the cool thing to do.
Well, you ever hear like you shouldn't drop your ring off at a jeweler because they could swap out your diamonds? Like you should never leave. You should always be there if you need your like jewelry adjusted.
Well, good to know, because I've dropped my ring off at like 2 different places.
My mom was always adamant about that, but I have to tell you that I went to go get my nails done, which is a rare occasion before a wedding, and I had my diamond on from my wedding, and then my band. And I always normally only wear my band because Peter proposed to me with this one. This is from South Africa. I was getting my nails done, and 2 of the diamonds in my ring were a different color under the light.
Really?
Not my big one. And I'm like, what's up with that? And the lady's like, oh, yeah, you might want to go talk to your jeweler because, that means something's wrong, that diamond is fake. So like 2 of the little diamonds were not actually diamonds.
Really?
Yeah, she said a lot of women freak out. Not a lot of women, but like women that she's,
Yeah.
And there's like this light that they use, not on purpose. It's like for your nails.
Yeah, the UV.
And you can tell when something's not real.
Interesting.
So I don't know if we really articulated the power of the color and the stones, but I really want to share that video that what else was cool? I sent you a video today, a real quick clip of the stone and what they, each different stone that's in Revelation. And then your husband said, I sent you a video the other day.
Oh, I know.
Right?
Yeah, I called my husband. What are you guys going to talk about? And I'm like, I don't know. We have these like really cool things on rocks, and how they're like related to God in the Bible, what makes them so cool. And he's like, really? He's like, I just sent you a video about that the other day. Did you watch it? And I'm like,
wild.
No. But he did. He's
on Instagram.
No, on Facebook.
Okay, so what I want to do, if anyone follows us on social media, is share this clip of these. Either that one that he shared would be cool to share on our Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, yeah.
Or an image of the different stuff. I think it's just really powerful.
It is.
And
it's really cool.
Learn more about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like, I'm kind of going in reverse order of things that have been like totally taking over my mind lately.
I know we've also gone down the path of clothing and what kind of clothing we really should be wearing.
Well, before we talk about the clothing, remember we did sound briefly.
Yes.
When we talked about the music industry.
Yeah.
We never really got to touch base. And I think that's what actually kind of drew me to I was researching sound frequency, and then it took me down a path of what your clothing does to your body. So I just wanted to share, because we talked about the music industry. If you haven't heard that podcast, go back, and it's one of the earlier ones.
Yeah.
The dark side of the music industry. It's pretty interesting. What really makes it interesting, though, is how powerful in a positive way and a negative way
music will affect you.
Right. So not to bore anyone with facts, but there are healing frequencies.
So the healing frequency for music is 528 hertz, 432 hertz.
So it's said that it's called like the miracle tone. It's supposed to promote healing, DNA repair, and general well-being. So a lot of times you'll search it on Spotify. You can listen to playlists.
Well, there's not a whole lot. Well, I mean, I only looked up for 432 hertz. And I know like the ones that stick out to me, like musicians, Pink Floyd did a lot in 432. I think like Bohemian Rhapsody was tuned to 432.
That's interesting.
There's a couple Metallica songs. Yeah.
But there's like a whole playlist. You would think that they wouldn't.
Well,
I think you would find more at 528. Like when you go on YouTube or like some of those meditation pages, so like if you're meditating or if you just want to relax your mind, like you said, 432, 639, 741. I mean, if you look it up, you can obviously find out what resonates with you, what's emotions, balance, restoration. But
Bob Marley is at 528.
See that?
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
And that's what I listen to.
I love
laugh because I'm like, I turn on Bob Marley when I'm feeling like super stressed or when the kids are like crazy. I'll just like crank it up or put it in my earbuds because I'm like, it'll at least calm me down. So because I always have to look at the opposite sides of things, I was interested to see what standard music was, and it's A4 440 hertz.
A4 440 hertz.
Yeah, which means that the A note above middle C is tuned to 440. Okay. So that's like the standard.
Okay.
All right, for the music industry.
Yes.
What's interesting, it's not optimal for well-being.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing you're going to read when you look it up. But it also suggests that it can create dissonance and unease. And that's the music that we're listening to.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
So that's wild to me. So be mindful of, look, find out what hertz your music is at. I mean, it can't hurt.
Right.
Especially if you really love something, I find certain music just like makes me uncomfortable. I am sensitive to sound and light and taste and smell and everything. But
all the senses.
It's worth checking out. That whole thing led me to the clothing.
Yeah.
So clothing frequency matters. And I guess at our human rest, we're at 100.
Yeah.
Like that's neutral.
Yes.
Okay.
And anything below is detrimental to the human body, and anything above is healing.
Yeah.
Right?
Or energizing. So it's very sinister, actually, what we're doing to our bodies. And I'm guilty of it myself with my Lululemon and everything else I wear. But linen has the highest frequency. It's a high frequency healer of a frequency of 5,000. It was historically used for bandages, linen sheets, and clothing. And it has a natural resistance to bacteria and fungus.
Mm-hmm. So good for like hospital settings and stuff.
Yeah. They don't use that.
No.
Wool. It's a warm high frequency. Okay. So we all know how warm wool is, but it's also at a frequency of 5,000, and it gives warmth, comfort, energy from the vibrations of the wool.
I have it written down too that wool was used to treat toothaches, fractures.
Really?
Yeah, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia.
Really?
That's
pretty amazing.
Yeah, because it helps inhibit the inflammatory process.
Oh my gosh.
And it accelerates wound healing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we go down to, we'll come back to linen and wool, okay, and scripture, but organic cotton has a frequency of 100, so it mirrors your human body. So it's very naturally in sync. Okay, that's why
how all this stuff is from the earth.
Right.
It's not synthetic.
Right.
It's not manipulated.
Exactly.
It's all straight from our world.
Yeah.
Go on.
So if you're wearing organic cotton, it's just very like much balance, cooling, comfortable, supportive. We have, I guess, non-organic cotton has a frequency of 70. So it's not
too bad.
It's not bad.
Okay.
So hemp is same as cotton, 100 frequency, except for the one benefit is very sustainable.
Okay.
There's, hemp is very a sustainable product. Then you have silk. Okay. Silk is a very low frequency. It's a frequency of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that.
Well, it could be due to modern day processing.
Okay.
Silk before would be
more natural and
expensive because of what it takes to create.
Yeah.
It is shocking to think silk of all fabrics, but that's because of processing and making money.
Some dough.
Now you have rayon, which is low frequency of 15. It's often made from wood pulp or bamboo, but requires an intense chemical production.
Yeah. Everything else is going to have like the chemicals in it, right?
Yeah. Then you have other synthetic products like polyester, acrylic, and nylon, which is zero frequency and contain petrochemicals. Okay. And is energetically draining.
Yeah. So and with plastics.
Yep.
They call it plastic fashion now.
Yeah.
because we're basically just wearing plastic.
No, it is a form of plastic.
It is ridiculous how much plastic. Well, first of all, we're drinking things out of plastic. We're drinking things out of plastic. We're putting plastic. I mean, my toothbrush is plastic.
Shampoo.
It's so annoying. Yeah. Now we're wearing it.
We wear it on our clothes all day, right on our crotches too.
Yeah.
So like when people have problems down below or
I wonder why.
Like,
yeah,
think about all the breast cancers and
when we started talking about this too, I started looking up on like Amazon and like different places where we could find 100% wool or 100% linen.
But even cotton, if you just work,
it's so hard to find.
It is hard
because everything's mixed with nylon.
I would say from an affordability standpoint, to get cotton. Okay,
okay.
Like my mom's like 100% cotton. She's always like cotton. My parents are very wise,
Yeah, but like you like linen wouldn't be that expensive, But linen
you know what?
And think about
this is where my brain went. Make your own fucking clothes. I know, Marisa, you're insane. But if you go and buy I know that sounds crazy.
It is crazy.
It's insane. But if you can't make your own clothes, you could at least make your own sheets.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I can't buy organic cotton for my kid. Well, yes, you can. You can just go buy cotton fabric. And I mean, it's not going to be cheap, but it's going to be less expensive than
going to the store.
You know what I mean?
On Amazon.
There are ways to do it. I'm not going to go down that path just yet. So that was all a breakdown.
Did you talk about leather?
I have it in my notes to mention something about leather.
Because I guess back in the day, they used to wear like leather shoes. And apparently it's non-conductive, like at all. And energy from the earth can pass through leather. So when you're walking, it's like grounding.
Yeah.
Like
unlike the plastic that we're wearing under our feet
like my flip-flops that I'm walking around the freaking block with and stuff.
Yeah. So that's why I go barefoot. So, when the weather gets nicer, me and my hillbilly kids are all walking around barefoot. And some neighbors always, they always have to make their dad jokes. But I decided to start going barefoot last year because number one, I heard how important grounding was. And then I was learning more and more about all the stuff that's in our shoes.
Yeah.
And I love shoes.
I know.
Don't get me wrong. I love my shoes, but I have a lot of problems with my feet. Me and my brother have flat feet. We have an extra bone in our feet. Like I'm always having foot pain. And it's always like, where are these arches? And I had to go to see orthopedic doctor all the time, all this stuff. When I stopped wearing shoes, my feet did like a 60% turnaround. Like no more pain in my feet. I didn't wake up in the morning like all the time like I used to, because the muscles in my feet were like working. Like my ankles and my feet were like doing what they were supposed to. And I know you can't be barefoot all the time, but our shoes
they morph your foot.
Yeah, but they also make your foot so lazy. And then on top of it, all the petrochemicals that are in your feet and your skin are like so permeable. And then they're like sitting there absorbing all this garbage.
Yeah.
So I tried to not wear shoes as often as I can. Plus my husband grew up in a country where they don't actually even wear shoes to the store or to school.
That reminds me too of like all my years of dancing, because when I was a dancer, and even when I was teaching dance, I'd always be barefoot.
Right.
And so like my feet sounds gross, but they were always like calloused and dry and like the bottoms of the thick.
Strong.
I remember I got a pedicure once and she did that stupid razor thing and took off all of it. I had blisters on the bottom of my feet because I went to go dance again. And I'm like doing my spins and my turns and my feet were like ripped apart, destroyed. Yeah. That is the worst thing you can do.
Well, Pete's feet were always really calloused. And like, I remember I was in South Africa one time. We were like we used to train these kids and they were like making fun of me. Like, oh, these American people, they can't go barefoot. I was like miserably barefoot at like a water park. And my feet were so sensitive from never being barefoot.
Yeah.
They can like walk over like hot rocks and they'd be fine.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna train your feet.
You do. And they have to it actually does exfoliate them and make them stronger. Like your skin, my skin's not gross from being barefoot or anything like that.
You know what? The only issue I have, with grounding, aren't we supposed to be grounding on like natural earth, like grass and mud and like
stone tile?
Because like concrete's not natural, right?
Well,
I don't know. Well, I mean, it's probably good for your foot to begin with.
Carpet with chemicals, no.
Right.
Linoleum or whatever plastic flooring people are walking on. I don't know.
What scares me though, and my brother and I went to, I think it was like SeaWorld or something like back in the day. And they had this like playground thing. It was like all on like inflated stuff. And he was barefoot and he stepped on like a piece of glass or some kind of garbage.
Yeah.
He got an infection. He was about to lose his entire leg. So now we're like, oh God, gotta wear shoes.
Yeah. I mean, that's also part of like all the programming with how to act in the winter and not catching bugs and stuff like this. But to continue on with even with the grounding, like it's super sinister to know that we've been programmed to cover our feet when we know that so much energy and healing comes from the ground. Now we're wearing plastic shit under our feet all the time, 24/7, socks and plastic shoes. Okay. And like you were saying, leather is like a perfect thing to wear on your feet. So we're not saying you have to be barefoot.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not going to walk around in leather slippers probably, but I mean,
it would be a bad idea.
Yeah, there is shoes made. There are shoes, natural organic shoes that you can get with
actual leather,
or just like the sole is made with, you know, hemp or like there is other products out there.
Yeah,
it's just not mainstream.
No.
So start thinking about,
because you sound like a quack. Yeah, when you talk about,
I don't give a shit.
It's organic, you know.
When I like literally this one guy says the same dad joke to me every time I pass by him without my shoes on. I didn't know we had hillbillies living in this neighborhood.
Are you serious? That's what he says?
He says it every time. I'm like, you know what? The hillbillies I know probably have more class in their pinky than you.
Point. Which is that?
Yeah, I would have to show you. If you walked out, yeah, well, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So, it's just healthy for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
oh my God, people were freaking out in our neighborhood when we talked about not using sunscreen.
Oh yeah, that's another one. That might be that's a podcast for another day because that goes along with some other topics I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
So we will bring that up. Now, before I jump over to some of the things that people wore in Bible times, would you mind reading the scripture? Is it Leviticus that we spoke about? There's multiple scriptures in Leviticus and Deuteronomy that talks about not wearing wool and linen.
Not wearing?
Together. Are you in Leviticus?
Yeah.
19:19.
Keep my decrees. Do not mate different kinds of animals. Do not plant your field with two kinds of seed. Do not wear clothing woven of two kinds of material. And then also going into Leviticus 13:29, it talks about all the different materials that we just discussed just now. Like as for any fabric, knitted material of linen, wool, leather, or anything made of leather. It just talks about how.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to check that. That's Leviticus 13:47
through. It's talking about all these materials for all the way through chapter 14.
Oh, okay, interesting. I didn't know that. So when it talks about not wearing two clothes woven together, that's what I was interested in learning. That's kind of what brought me here, right?
Okay.
And it doesn't really like say you can't wear them at the same time. It says don't
woven of two kinds of materials.
Yeah, like literally don't weave them together. So with that, I'm like in Exodus 28, I think Exodus 28:6.
Make the ephod of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet and of yarn and of finely twisted linen, the work of skilled hands.
An ephod is a sleeveless garment worn by Jewish priests.
Like a vest.
Like a vest, yeah. I guess colors and fabrics were used just like with anything to like differentiate. So colors and fabrics were how they differentiated like a priest, different classes of people. So like those things were important for that time. The idea of not weaving together wool and linen makes a lot of sense because once they are woven together, it cancels out their frequency. So when God says this in the Bible, it's for a reason.
Oh.
If they're both high frequency, 5,000 and 5,000, which they precisely are, once woven together, they lose their frequency. They cancel each other out. So then you're down to a zero, which is
not good.
To me, that's pretty cool that he would specifically say.
He just puts it all together for us. He just basically tells you how to live your life.
Exactly. So, interesting note, wool, when combined with linen, increases its power of passing off electricity from the body. In hot climate, it brings on malignant fevers and exhausts your strength.
What is that?
Wool combined with linen.
Linen. Huh.
And so in Ezekiel, do you want to read one more scripture for me? I'm sorry. Ezekiel 44:17. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I couldn't do it as quickly as you could. I tried. We could probably mark the pages beforehand, but
yeah, we could probably do a lot before we do our podcast. It's okay.
44:17 and 18.
When they enter the gates of the inner court, they are to wear linen clothes. They must not wear any woolen garment while ministering at the gates of the inner court or inside the temple. They are to wear linen turbans on their heads and linen undergarments around their waists. They must not wear anything that makes them perspire.
Mm-hmm.
When they go out into the outer court where the people are, they are to take off the clothes they've been ministering in and are to leave them in the sacred rooms and put on other clothes, so that the people are not consecrated through contact with their garments.
So isn't that interesting? So that is linen and wool. So
what did you have about nakedness?
Oh yeah, I wrote a little note about that. So
yeah, I saw that on your notes. I'm like,
oh yeah, that's so. As I said, biblical clothing often had spiritual significance. So meaning it could have meant like, your human status, your wealth, your gender, things like that.
That would not well today.
No, that would not. There's actually okay. Well, hang on.
I went to Target for the first time in like years.
Okay, how'd it go?
Awful.
Yeah.
They don't have any more boys or girls clothes. It's gone.
It's just one.
I don't know. They have it all together, and like you have to figure out like, am I in the boys section or in the girls section? No clue.
My kids always don't go there. I feel bad. They have like gift cards for there, and I haven't been there.
Sorry,
no,
I just had to tell you that real quick. I just cannot believe like they went that far. They took it that far.
It's just messy in there. It's just distracting, and I can't even.
Target. Okay, go ahead.
Before I get to nakedness, they were used for human status, wealth, position, gender. Often symbolize things like purple is royalty and authority, scarlet is sin, white, fine linen is purity and righteousness. So that's all very cool.
All that stuff makes sense.
Yeah. Sackcloth is mentioned in the Bible.
Rip my sackcloth.
Of course.
Sorry.
Do you know what sackcloth? I had to look it up. Do you know what it is?
Sorry.
That's okay. I live with somebody who quotes movies all day long.
No. Okay.
It's made of
sackcloth. No, I don't.
It's made of black goat hair. And it's a symbol of mourning. When someone's in mourning, they wear it.
Oh, so that's okay.
Black goat
Which
hair.
that would make sense why you're ripping yourself.
Yeah. So, and the reason why it identifies mourning in the Bible is because during the repentance in Jonah, political tragedies.
Everyone starts to rip.
Yes. Leather belts actually meant poverty.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. No, I didn't know that.
And then, as we know, purity, white and things like that, like I had mentioned, but gender appropriation in Deuteronomy 22:5. Deuteronomy 22:5.
Is this going to get us canceled?
Maybe.
Deuteronomy. Here we go. A woman must not wear men's clothing, nor a man wear women's clothing, for the Lord your God detests anyone who does this. God said it, not me.
Yeah, God said it.
God said that one.
You're just reading.
I'm just reading it from the Bible, guys.
But that's an interesting one because it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's
that even then it needed to be said. Now, there are people who won't wear pants. There's women who will only wear dresses and skirts, to this day. And you could very easily, I think it maybe modern day, it's intention, like if we wear pants, it might be out of function, not because we're trying to look like dudes.
Right.
Maybe we walk up to the pearly gates one day and he's like, you were actually wrong. You're supposed to be looking like a lady. And then I'm going to be like, crap, because I've been wearing like basketball shorts to my knees and Michael Jordan t-shirts half my life. And then I grew up and I dressed like a boy every day.
Maybe we'll show up naked.
Yeah, maybe we'll be naked. Who knows? So, but yeah, the Bible's pretty clear on dressing appropriate for your gender.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're living in
a different time. Now,
make your house still girl clothing and boy clothing. Target. I mean, like, I don't know why.
It's just weird and confusing, and I don't know why they would do that. I mean, my kids
it made my life miserable.
Are very much like, I'm not wearing that. That's for a girl. That's for a boy. That's for a baby. That's, like, it's like.
I was looking for socks and like, anyway, go ahead.
So I always got caught up on the word nakedness in Genesis,
When nakedness is being covered.
Yeah. When is it Genesis 3? Oh, no. In Genesis 3, Adam and Eve realized they're naked.
Noah he's drunk, got naked. His boys, or the one boy looked away. The one boy covered him up.
Mm-hmm. Can you read that?
It became okay. The son, so Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. When he drank some of its wine, he became a drunk and laid uncovered inside his tent.
Okay.
Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his 2 brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it across their shoulders. Then they walked in backward and covered their father's naked body. Their faces were turned the other way so that they would not see their father naked.
They would not see their father's nakedness. Different variations will say naked or nakedness. This caused Noah to basically curse his son, right?
Didn't he curse the one that did not, or that one that looked at him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the other 2 did not.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was always like, what was the big deal? Like, what does that mean? And I would always be like looking that up, like in the concordance. And then it came back up when I was doing this. And then I was like, oh, I should probably mention it. So nakedness, which is H6172 in the concordance, is lewdness, offensive sexual acts, pudendum, which is the external genitals of women, incest, unchastity, or illicit or extramarital affairs. So there's a lot going on there. Could it be?
I feel bad for the ones that are getting naked in front of kids today. Yeah, out in the middle of the public, like,
or
not okay.
Or pornography in general. Now, in this case, in the Bible, we don't know. I don't think it was as simple as he just saw him naked. Obviously, it was much more sinister for him to react that way. That's why when people are like, "Oh, he was just naked," I'm like, "No, it was clearly it was more than that because he cursed him after that." And like, you know what I mean? So yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah,
scary.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with being naked.
I think there's something wrong with being naked in public.
There's something wrong with the lewdness of being naked, right?
Yeah.
It's the intention behind it. But anyways, I don't know if that went off on a different, but
well, I mean, you guys can take that literally wherever you want to go.
Look it up.
Because there's a lot of places you can go with being naked because I mean, like, I'm not going to go there right now because I'm not going to try and get us canceled.
Yeah.
Or go on a tangent.
Right.
So that for a different podcast. But like, honest to God, he just kind of tells us what to do and how to act, and like, people
what to wear, what not to wear.
I know it's not that hard, but like, you go back to Deuteronomy, and there's some things that like.
There's a reason there's a reason for the recommendations.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to the food topic, which we're doing another day. Anyways,
this one was a lot of information.
We went a little over than we normally do, but that's okay because someone told me that they wish we would talk longer. I'm not kidding. Shocking.
Wow. How much you listen to us?
35, 40 minutes isn't long enough.
And I'm always the one that's like, I don't want to listen to anybody for more than 40 minutes.
Yeah. It's
like, keep it at 40.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well, if you're still listening, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Please share, like, comment. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble. I'm still working on Apple. Maybe I got to let me before I leave. And then, Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. Follow.
Please.
Share.
Yeah. Share away.
Give us some love.
Yeah.
Or not.
Bye. What's up?